Hey,
Hi!
welcome world, welcome Facebook. Hi, I am Kristen Agan, team leader of Keller Williams Golf Beaches, and I am so excited today to turn the tables and get to interview the wonderful, amazing, talented, unstoppable Rachel Partain.
Woo-woo! Hi, guys!
So Rachel, you are team leader extraordinaire of the, BTLE, best team leader ever, of the downtown St. Pete Market Center for Keller Williams Keller Williams. I'm sorry, I about gave you Golf Beaches too, although you do technically have your hand in all three right now. We're all working together. So I am so excited to talk to you about what we are, what brought you here, how you got here, because I know that somebody asked you about your story recently and we realized, oh my gosh, we don't always talk about this. So Rachel, tell me, what did you do prior to being team leader? I know you're gonna have to go back like a long time ago. What did you do prior to being team leader of Keller Williams Golf Beaches? St. Pete.
Careful, because I'm not that old. And just to clarify, BTLE, Best Team Leader Ever, was a name that was given to me by Jeff Joyner. And yes, it is the tag on my car now. Just a little bit about me. I grew up in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Something that most people don't know and I don't talk about, I got married when I was 17 and graduated high school. So I just made that live on Facebook for everybody to hear. Everybody in Murfreesboro who I went to high school with probably knew that. That was my way, I call that my green card marriage. You know, that was, at that time, being 17, graduating high school, it was like, and coming from my environment, that was the next step in my evolution, was to get married. And that lasted about 2 to 3 months. And I moved back home to Murfreesboro. And after a few months, my aunt, I'm a beauty school dropout as well.
We have so much in common. I got married at 19 and I was in beauty too. So look at
there you go. My Aunt Jenny asked me one day, she's like, Rachel, have you thought about going to college? And I was like, nope, but sounds like a good idea. What else am I doing? So I was 19 and enrolled at Middle Tennessee State University. And that was probably one of my biggest eye-opening experiences of my life. I was sharing this story with Michael and Doug a couple of days ago. It's like real estate agents, they get their real estate license and they join the real estate world to be a realtor, not knowing there are all these other career paths within our industry. And that's kind of how I stepped in at MTSU, was, you know, small town girl and not a very exposed world, was that, you know, you can be a doctor, a lawyer, a police officer, you know, those were the types of roles available. And that's what I remember so profoundly about entering that world where people were taking career paths I never even heard of. And it was just so amazing to me, all of these different thoughts and ideas on religion and politics and psychology. And it just made me want to dive in and learn more. So I was always that person that would ask about, and still do, about politics and religion, the two topics you're not supposed to ask about, because they're fascinating to me. Different people's ideas and beliefs are fascinating. And it was actually in college that I did an internship with the University of Florida, take a couple years back, when I was married. Oh God, I can't believe I'm telling you this. I did my honeymoon at Disney World.
Brought you to Florida.
So the reason I say that is because I went to Epcot, and in the back part of the land, which is a restaurant, they have hydroponics where they grow vegetables hydroponically. And it was researched with NASA, and all the vegetables they use in all the restaurants there at Epcot. And I thought it was the most amazing thing. So my goal was to grow vegetables hydroponically with NASA. That's what I wanted to do.
So isn't this like a Matt Damon movie?
Yes, thank you. Yes, it is. So it's not such a far-fetched idea, right? Other people were doing it, just a very few people. So I looked for an internship in hydroponics. Now, The year was 1999. So if you were looking for hydroponics in college, what do you think you found?
As far as jobs?
No, you didn't find any. It was how to grow weed in your dorm room hydroponically. Since I didn't smoke weed, I was like, I don't know that I'm going to actually find a career here. But I did end up finding an internship with the University of Florida. Dr. Sutton had a station down in South Florida, and I worked down there invasive plant species or aquatic plants. So I did a couple of internships at the University of Florida, and Dr. Sutton was like my Aunt Jenny, who said, Rachel, have you ever thought about going to grad school? I was like, nope. He said, well, you can get a grant and we'll pay for you to go. I was like, okay. So I actually have a master's degree in weed science, studying invasive plant species of Florida's wetlands from the University of Florida, which brought me to Florida, introduced me to Audrey's father, and had Audrey, and came to St. Petersburg back in March of 2003, and activated my real estate license with Prudential Gower. I was the #1 sales agent my first 12 months there. I did about 8 million in sales volume. I think it was 7.9 if you really want to know. And I remember looking around the office, which great people, but thinking, who am I going to learn from here?
Wait a second. I'm going to pause you for a second. What did you do in your first year of real estate to close almost $8 million? What was your strategy?
I had one of these. This was my technology notepad.
Yeah.
I drove the streets every day looking for sale by owners. I called it FSBO hunting.
Okay.
I drove the streets every day, like stop at a stop sign and you look both ways looking for sale by owners sign, because we didn't have Zillow. Zillow didn't come out until 2010. We had newspapers. You guys remember those newspapers? So you could look in the newspaper, you could drive the street. So I would drive the street, look for sale by owners, find one, go up, knock on the door, talk to them, give them my card, write down their names, their phone number, their address. And then I just always kept flipping back through that thing. And I remember I don't know if it was my first FSBO I converted, but it was my first Old Northeast listing, which, that was like, you're moving up in the world. 1915 Bay Street was my first FSBO listing. And I hammered FSBOs, and Floor Time, loved Floor Time. I met one guy who ended up buying Rick and Marla. He was looking for a $50,000 condo for Marla's daughter. They ended up buying 7 units at the Madison from me.
Nice.
So I worked, and my first broker said, I don't know what to tell you, but if my dad were still around, he would tell you just go walk the streets. And you've heard me talk about this. So that's what I did. I literally got some business cards and just started walking Central Avenue. Beach Drive wasn't Beach Drive back then, but just started walking Central Avenue, all the storefronts, going in, meeting people, open houses, follow up. That's how I did it.
Awesome.
So, yeah, you just got to put yourself out there, I guess, and follow up. So I left that office a couple of years, and I went to Smith & Associates, and at the time, Smith & Associates was where the who of the who were, and I remember, I got to sit next to Frank Malawani, and Frank and Rebecca Malawani still sell real estate in the area, and I've told Frank this story. It's funny, his son and his daughter-in-law are agents here in this office, and I thought it was the best thing in the world to be able to sit by the Frank Malawani and learn from him. And probably the most important lesson I learned from Frank was how to speak confidently. If you ever meet him, whatever he's talking about, he could sell ice to Eskimo. He just speaks with authority and confidence, and I loved that. I met Jack Bowman, who was responsible for bringing Keller Williams to this area. I met Jack probably in 2006. And Jack was the type of recruiter that would come to your open house and just sit there for the 3 hours.
Wow.
embalm Keller Williams information on you. So needless to say, it didn't work. He was the sweetest man ever. It did not work at that time, but around 2009, I was like, okay, I love exploring and working with people and motivating and teaching, and I'm just ready for my, how can I continue growing? And so the opportunity with Keller Williams was once again available, and my job was to take the office that had shrunk and almost closed, that was up on 4th Street, and to move it downtown and to launch a new office.
So when you came to Keller Williams, you came in a leadership role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my job, was to bring it to downtown and to launch out as the market center. And the ownership at that time, there was some difficulties going on. Kevin Chadwick stepped in, and I made him hire me.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I made Kevin hire me, and he'll tell you the same. Like, I had a non-compete. I wasn't supposed to be talking to him. I remember sitting in a parking lot on my cell phone. Hey, I'm your next team leader. I just need you to know that. But yeah, we launched the office down there, and I think it took us about 18 months to move from nobody to the #1 sales spot in the area, and we've maintained that with growth, units, volume for a good 9 years. So I'm super proud of it.
That is awesome. So there's a couple things that I heard you say, Rachel, that I want to go back to. One is that, was it your aunt and your uncle that said, hey, have you thought of?
It was my aunt said, have you thought about going to college? Mm-hmm. And then Dr. Sutton he lives in Virginia now. He actually was the professor at University of Florida when I was doing my internship.
Right. So why I want to go back to that is, I feel like that is what you do in agents' lives right now. You did it in my life anyway, and I've heard you do it over and over again, where you see people's potential and you help point them to that path. So that's just an observation that somebody was doing that for you, and now you're doing that in what you do as team leader, of helping people see where their potential is and the opportunities that are in front of them.
I love that you pointed that out. It's not something that's ever resonated with me, but yeah, I think you first all have to know what paths are available, or be around people that can point you in that direction, and then be open enough when somebody says, hey, there's an open door over there you might want to go check out, but you just check it out.
Just check it out. It might not be for you, yet it could be. And
you never know until you look in.
You look into the opportunity. I love that. That's beautiful. So the other thing that I heard you say is that you were looking around saying, who am I going to learn from next? Where am I going to learn from? And you moved specifically. Hi, Drew.
I'm live on Facebook. Hi, Andrew. Andrew comes over to my house on Sundays and does laundry with me.
I even sometimes cook her breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
So you obviously made a move so you could be in the space of people who are going to help you grow. So I want to dig into, you are a voracious reader. You read, you learn, you study, you research. Where did that hunger come from, and what are you reading right now that you love?
It's so funny that you said that. I'm going to see if I can find this. So I didn't start reading like that. It was probably been within the last 9 to 10 years. So can I read something?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I don't know if it'll make sense right here, right now. But it was from kind of like my thought process this morning, and some of the stuff I was sharing on Ready and Read. But it says, I pause and think about my own actions, constantly under pressure of others' judgment. Yet there's something more going on, constantly seeking ways to break through the barriers of the mind and set individuals free. The psychology of the mind is so intense and deep. It is a thick, dark force full of deadly obstacles. The battle is intense, and why do I have the passion to fight this battle? And so you ask the question of why I read so much, and where does this concept come that I always have to push forward? I don't know. It's just innate, I guess. it's kind of like, you know, my impact on the world, my purpose. And it sounds corny, but I do feel like I have a purpose in this world. And I don't know exactly what it is yet, but I'm very confident that I have a strong purpose in this world. And so I'm constantly seeking and pushing myself to be better so that I can fulfill my purpose at a higher level. One of the books I'm reading is this beautiful little baby.
So familiar.
Uh-huh.
That looks so familiar.
Doesn't it? I'm reading it for the third time because it's so powerful. And especially right now, you know, with COVID and equality and injustices, being courageous enough to step up and lead or even show up right now, it takes courage and it's scary. And so if you desire something that you don't have, you have to study how to get it. It doesn't just fall from the skies into your mind. And
Right.
so I'm reading that, and then the John Maxwell book. So if you guys have watched Reading and Read, you'll see all my journals behind me. That's all I do. John Maxwell book, The World's Greatest Return, is an awesome one. I think it might be brand new. And then I'm also reading Robert Iger's The Ride of a Lifetime. He is the CEO of Disney.
Right. 3 at one time right now.
Yeah, I get bored easily.
So let's talk about your journaling, because that is a known fact of anybody who knows Red, that she journals avidly as well. So where did you pick up that habit, and what has it done to shape your life?
You know, it's funny. I started journaling probably when I was in college. Oddly enough, I was studying the Bible, which might be something that a lot of people don't know about me, but I can't just read something and take it at surface level, so I study it. And so I was in a Bible study, and I was studying the Bible, and I started journaling about kind of what the information, how it was making me think, and then applying it to the people I know and their beliefs, and kind of some of seeing the contradictions and stuff. So I started journaling in college. I also had a college professor, I wish I could remember her name right now, but she taught us that in our, it was English literature, but in the English literature book, if you came across a word that you didn't know, you had to underline it and write the definition out to the side. And then all of her quizzes were open books. So if you had done it, then you had all the information right there. People cringe when they see my books because they're full of underlines and highlights and writing. It's just part of how I retain information. I think is one of the big reasons why I journal. It helps me process the thoughts and retain the information.
I've personally witnessed that it's also a way for you to, you glean a lot of ahas just through your writing. You figure out strategies and solutions just by journaling. So tell us something that you've learned about yourself, or a change that you've made personally in your life as a result of your journaling.
You know, that's a great question. I think that often in life we can be overwhelmed with all that's going on. We can be overwhelmed with the thought of being overwhelmed. So I'm going to tell myself I'm overwhelmed, and guess how I'm going to feel?
Overwhelmed.
So I've learned over the years that by taking all of that chaos from upstairs and being able to put it into writing helps me form more concrete thoughts around it and takes the pressure out so that I can clearly think and move forward. That's what I've learned from journaling.
All right, awesome. So let's switch to your role as coach, because that is one of the things that you do as team leader, is you coach your agents to success. Tell us one of your favorite success stories in coaching agents. That's a ringer of a question. I can You can leave names out.
Well, no, I'll say, I want to say this name
Okay.
because it's our friend anniversary today. Miss Becky McConnell.
For some reason, I just knew that would be the story. Go ahead.
It's not just Becky. Becky is one of many. So I look at Becky and I look at Denise and Diana Geegan and Debbie Egan and, you know, all of these people that came to Keller Williams as little babies, little babies, brand new licensees. And now they are number one. Like they've built their skill set and their mindset and their businesses within these walls, and they've taken full advantage of the value tools that we provide, and they've grown, and their lives have changed so much, and it's beautiful to watch that, to watch that change, to see how, you know, this product that we sell, houses, is just the end product, and there's so much more that goes on the other side of it.
All right. Awesome. I knew you'd find one inside of you that you could share. So tell us, you asked me the last week or 2 weeks ago, you asked me what my favorite value tools were for Keller Williams. So I'm going to boomerang that one back at you.
Thanks, Kristen. Well, obviously, one thing that I always use is the 411. And so that's 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. And it's just a great way to take your goal for the year and break it down into monthly priorities, and then say, okay, what do I need to focus on this week? Like if this doesn't get done this week, nothing else matters. And so it's a great tool for the individual to know what has to be done, to put their big rocks down. It's a great tool for coaching to be able to help hold somebody accountable to the things that they say that they want to achieve. And it's also a great tool for knowing your conversion rates. So if I have an agent that tells me that they want to make 50 contacts a week, and you know, week 1 they do 20, but I want to do 50. Okay, do you want to put 50 down again? Yeah. So week 2 they put 50, and they did 25. Then we might have a conversation about, what if we bring this down to 25? You hit that, and then we can start incrementally increasing it, because people need to win. So that's one way. And then we can track, you know, contacts to appointments, look at that conversion rate. I had a gal I was coaching with one time who went door knocking for an open house. And I think she told me she knocked 100 doors and no one showed up to the open house. And that's where the coaching lives, is in between those two things. Knocking 100 doors to no one showing up to the house. It's right in between there. It's like, what language did you use? What questions did you ask? What time of the day did you knock? What day of the week did you knock? What were you wearing? How did you show up? Like, so all of that is where you can kind of dig in and help them find solution for a better result.
Awesome. So that's the 411, and then.
So that's my favorite. That's probably my favorite value tool. My second favorite would be, can you guess?
Yeah, but I'm going to let you say it.
What do you think it is?
I think it's your database.
It is. It's Command. It's my database. Yes, you know me well. So Keller Williams gave us a database when I started with them, and I started using it and kept using it, and then they changed it, and I started using that one. Now we have another one. I'm using it. Database is super simple to me. It's like you're having conversations, you type notes, you set reminders, put people on campaigns, done, go to the next. But it's my brain. Like there's no way that I can remember all of the people that we talk to and the conversations we have and all the important pieces of that relationship and when to call them back and follow up without having a system in place. And it's fun to watch agents once they get to that point. Like they might be remembering their appointments at this level. And then you watch them get to a point where they forgot an appointment. So then they start using technology, a Google Calendar, a paper calendar, because now they need to write in their appointments. And so you just see that transition of activity and workload.
Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago when I was just starting out and I was lead generating with you, watching your process of using your database while you lead generate was eye-opening. It was quite the experience to see how you interact with it and use it, and the process that you go through on every call and conversation. I was like, oh, that's how that's supposed to work. It was
Well, it's actually contradictory to how most people talk about you doing lead gen. Like you're just supposed to dial and smile, and then at the end of it, you've got all these notes on paper that never gets put in. So for me, it slows down every conversation, which is good because I need things in my world that slow me down to have conversations. And it slows down that conversation, yet it's so much more effective and efficient.
so. I have two more questions for you.
Okay.
What if I were to ask your agents in your office, how would they describe you as a coach and a team leader?
It depends on who you ask, I guess. You know, you and I had that conversation this morning. A lot of people see me as loud, proud, and in charge, maybe. And I probably do come off that way. I know I do. I come off with a lot of energy and a lot of passion. And something I'm very proud of is I come off with a lot of confidence. I feel, you know, I tell people this story of driving down Beach Drive. And I remember in my Volkswagen Touareg, and it was probably like 2004. And I thought to myself, I remember the median I was passing. I was like, you know what? I like real estate. I think I'm good at it. Like I understand the contract. I know the inventory. I know statistics. I know marketing. Like, this feels like it's right in my wheelhouse. And so I guess that over the years, and I mean, I wish you guys knew how much training I put myself through to learn the stuff that's important to me. But I have put myself through that much training and self-education, as well as Keller Williams information. And I am very confident in what we have to provide. So I think that our agents know that I support them. I have their back. I love them. But yes, some people don't always see my heart up front.
I think, Rachel, that you are fierce and you fiercely love and you fiercely help people grow and you do it fiercely. And that comes with maybe a lot of emotion on the other side, yet there's a reason, you know, all these people choose to be in your space to grow around you. So, okay, my last question is, if you did know what your purpose was, what would it be?
So I used to say that I wasn't scared of dying because I knew that I had a big purpose in this world, and I still feel that way. It's kind of a weird thing. My goal for life was to create a platform for Audrey so high that when she was ready to launch off into the world, that I set her platform as high as I possibly could, so she had all the resources and information and knowledge, relationship skills that she needed to just keep going higher. And so that she could do the same for her children or for the people around her. And then I turn around and I look, and Audrey's 17. And she graduated high school already. And she's living in an investment property that we've remodeled. And she's coordinated with all the contractors, with all the design finishes and putting everything together. She runs a small business for us, and she works as my executive assistant. So I had to stop and think, well, it sounds like she's pretty much launched. So is my purpose over? And what I realized is what I love to do is kind of clear the path and lay the foundation for other people to run. Like for everybody, for anybody who wants to be part of my world. And there are definitely certain people who I put on my bus and take with me. You're one of those people, Kristen. Yeah. I invited you into my world, and now I see it as my job to protect you, support you, and ensure your growth and achievement of your goals. I know Tiffany's on here. I feel the same about Tiffany LaFleur. Like, so I really see my bigger purpose as clearing paths and laying the foundation for other people to grow and achieve their goals.
Awesome. See, I knew you'd come to it if I just asked one more question. Rachel, thank you so much for sharing your story. Is there anything that I haven't asked that I should have asked that you want to share about yourself today?
I think I shared plenty. Thank you.
Good. Well, thank you for telling us your story. It's awesome to be in business with you, and I'm excited to see what we do from here in this crazy world we're in and navigating our way through. Yes, thank you. Keep
Bye.
that.